Well, hello my friends, I'm Lady Leeanna and this is Witchcraft, Wicca, Eclectic Spirituality. And what I'm doing right here right now is I have an array of different candles that you can use within your spell works or meditations. I don't have a little 3.5 inch candle, which I wanted to touch on also. But it doesn't really matter. You get the gist of it when I say a little 3.5 inch candle, which is like 6 times, no, let's say 4 times the size of your birthday candle. They are good for meditation and for quick, I guess, color magic connotations. If you want to leave them to the side or as a contribution to the god or goddess, a gift to them, which is something I like to do within my works. Light a candle that's specifically to a god or a goddess, and I would choose a candle which is, you know, synonymous with that deity. Usually I like to use a black or purple. And sometimes I'll use color connotations through my candles whenever I'm wanting to light it up for a specific detail, like red for sexual love, pink for true love, blue for peace and tranquility, etc. But yes, I've got an array of candles here, and I wanted to touch on the different ideas, things that you can do with them, what you might want, how you might use them, etc. And I do have a video already on the channel to do with how to prepare your candle, so I'm not going to really go into that today, as I like to keep the videos as short as possible. I'm going to start off with this one because it's really just something I'm touching on, and if you look, it has the word Halloween on it. Halloween candles, they're really good. They're really cheap, especially if you get them right when the holiday is winding down, or Christmas candles for that matter, that's specifically for that, especially your green candle, which is used in a lot of your growth magic, your educational and healing, etc., getting in touch with a animal spirit. But yes, this one, the candle isn't quite very pretty, so I didn't bring it out just to look at that. But it is, however, a kind of a, well, you can't really see it because they have this white texture or powder all over it or something. I guess for a smoky haze look. A friend of mine gave this to me. But it has skulls on it. If you look real closely, you see 3 skulls that are stacked together, and it can represent renewal or birth. Remember, things that generally show depictions of death or ideas of death are really not about death at all. It's really about new beginnings and fresh starts because of the cycles. You know, you would end something so that you could re-begin it, so that like winter, for instance, it kills off all of the foliage so that the nutrients can go into the ground, and in the spring everything come up new, fresh, and more beautiful, you know, than its aged concept that just failed or passed away. Okay, so that is the candle here, and really it's about racking up on your supplies during the holidays because you can surely find some good deals. I love these little 9-inch pillar candles that are about 2 inches across the base and about 9 to 11 inches in height. I love those because you have a lot of room for scribing on the candle, and I like to do my scroll work, my prayer work, all around the candle with either a quill, which is my preferred idea because the feather is an air symbol. It reaches to the god system and it pulls the energy down. And while I am actually inscribing on my candle, I'm dipping into an anointing oil that's specifically for that purpose that I need the candle for. I'll even choose the candle color that is synonymous with the magic that I'm doing likewise. But I'll dip the quill and the oil, or the pen if I don't have a quill, because it will write just perfectly without leaving the ink on it most of the time. Use a dead pen if you can get one, that way you're sure not to leave tracers of blue ink or whatever. But it engraves just perfectly because it has the ball that rolls around inside of there, and it just engraves and indents the wax perfectly without cutting and breaking the wax away. And so that's really good, but I prefer this because, and by the way, you do the same thing with the pen as you would the quill. You're praying to the God system, you're pulling energy from above and below, you're dipping it into the anointing oil, and you're imagining your power that you're drawing down from above going into the wording that you're inscribing onto your candle. And that's the way that I do that, and this is my most preferred candle to use in doing any spell works, because it does just perfectly. It really does. And you would choose, like I think I said already, the color that best suits the purpose that you're using it for, that you're calling on. Now, here we have a bast candle. Basically, I just wanted to touch on the figure candles that are made into specific things. I don't know if you can see it good or not. I'll turn it sideways to get a better look. This one happens to be a cat, and it's about 7.5 inches. I use specific style already made into something candles, so that I can use them in representation of a goddess, maybe, or a god. This one could be representative of bast. And you can engrave on the very bottom here. On the very bottom you can engrave, you know, around in a circle or a cross, and then put your symbol on it. Or you can engrave up the back of it, just like this, you know. Try to keep your wording small. And again, that's why I like these candles, because they're so broad. And even still, even with these, you want to write it in as small of writing as you can get. And cursive is better because you're not raising your pen as much, and you have a hard time seeing these sometimes. And so you could get lost on where you were on the word, and not be able to see the mistakes that you're making or whatnot. So using cursive writing, make the full words before lifting your pen at all whenever possible, and you're a lot better for that. I like to use human figure candles. Yet again, this is another one that is similar to this. If you look, there's a couple coming together, and it's a lover type card. It could be used for love, pure love or true love. But if I were going to do that, I would choose like a pink one for the lovers. And they make them in all different colors for that reason. And you can write on the bottom, or you can engrave across the back of the individuals, like choose the male figure and put his name and birth date across the back, and then her name and birth date, and put it across the back of the female. You could put your symbol on the base of the candle, showing a sign of empowerment as you're calling to your god or goddess, or both. And so I like those. But remember, always cleanse your candle first, because you don't want to put all the power in it and then remember to cleanse it. You know, so cleanse it with your holy water or cleansing and purification tool first, then inscribe it, and then anoint it. That is the rule I like to use. Now, candles like this that you can find readily in the stores and have various scents. This one has a really nice peppery scent with a mint. Now, the more I smell it, it's like a nutmeg, like an apple pie spice type, a pumpkin pie spice type smell. Either way, they have different smells with each level on some candles. And this was a gift, so I don't know a lot about it yet. It says holiday plaid, cinnamon bark clove. But you can use candles like this very easily. Just remember, you want to take the time to prepare it just like you would the others, although in different ways. You would take and you would cleanse this one, you know, with a little holy water. You'd do a little bit on the top and kind of a light anointing up here with your holy water, just to cleanse it, or sage the whole thing, you know, or both. I like to do both. And then you can take your, like your magic marker style pen, and then you would pop the cap, and then just begin writing your prayers all along the jar, right? Remember, you don't want to get your fingers all in it over here, so you want to write very small and all along one side. And if your prayer is very big, you would let it dry a little bit before you would continue on around doing the same thing. Remember to dry it after you've done your holy water with a little paper towel or something, and then continue do your writing of it. And then you would do an anointing, and you could do that on the very base. Remember to remove the tag here, because I mean, it wouldn't be ethical to keep it on, right? And then you would do your little, I use a pentagram, some will use a cross, some will use a yin-yang, all of that. Different things, different strokes for different folks. And then don't forget to anoint the very top of the candle on at least two sides. I like, on a candle that's this big, to put the earth, air, water, fire symbols to each direction, and you can create your own if you don't know how others would symbolize that. So that's some good ideas for you to do with your jar candles, and you can readily find those throughout the year. They do tend to be a bit more expensive, so you might want to save the jar. Any remnant wax you get from any candles, you might want to purify that by putting some herbs of purification in the pot as you're getting ready to double boil the candle wax to melt it down, and you know, pour it back in the jar, and then decide after you've gotten your color with it what you would choose to use it for in the future, because you can never really know which color is going to predominate, right? Okay, and so again, we have a human figure candle, but I'm very partial to the man and woman candles because they're as readily available as any of the others, but they are used more. Why? Because a lot of our works tend to revolve around us, or around a man that we are in love with and want to catch his attention, or a woman, or whatever. And you can again write across the back of them the names and birth dates if you're targeting a particular individual, which I don't suggest, but do as you will, but harm none. And then you can inscribe your symbol across the bottom, or you could write other particular information that's helpful to you there. And then you would remember to do your cleansing before you do the inscribing on it. Cleanse it, inscribe it, and then anoint it. And on human figure candles, I like to anoint the bottom, and I like to anoint over the head, or if it's a love spell, over the heart. So that is what I would suggest with the human figure candles. Your skull candles, some people will use these to harm others. Some people will use these to kill someone, or to make somebody sick, or to initiate bad luck on somebody that's doom and gloom. I mean, to the greatest extent, etc., which I don't advise, and karma will get you. I don't care who you are. I don't suggest that. But a lot of us will use these for new beginnings and fresh starts, similar to what I said about the skulls here, the 3 stacked skulls. This could represent past, present, and future because it has the numerology involved with there being 3 skulls stacked instead of just one single skull. But yes, you can inscribe across the bottom, and there's a lot of room on these. You can inscribe across the back of the skull right here, names, birthdays, or your prayer, or all the way around because it's relatively smooth. you know, and there would be a lot of room for that. Don't forget to do the cleansing on it first, the inscribing, and then the anointing. And on these, I would do the forehead. Changes. Skulls are also really good for initiating changes. Might be good for an older person that is waiting for their next life or trying to dictate what their next life or next form might be, if they want to come back at all or just go and join the God system, right? But these candles are good for a lot of things like that. Here we have standard different sizes of the same thing here. Notice they're all different. And then there's the 3.5 inch candle likewise. But these are used for the same thing you would use this one for, but they're smaller. This one is good for about the same thing you would use on this, but for smaller amounts of print, if there is smaller amount, or if you're going to write your prayer on paper and stick it underneath the holder for this, then you could use candles this small or this small. But I would at least put my birth date and my full name on it, on either one of these, and then put my prayer on the paper that would slide up underneath the holders for them. So that's how you could use these. Remember again to cleanse, then inscribe, and then anoint. And then you've got it made. These, like I said, this is a beautiful ritualistic pen for inscribing and engraving. That's what they're good for. They won't leave ink or anything like that. But you want to prepare it just like you would any of your other ritual tools. And you would want to dip it in your anointing oil, that way you're inscribing into your candle that oil. And you're imagining the print from your writing like in a silver or gold, depending on whether you're calling to the god or goddess. For the god, it would be silver. For the goddess, it would be gold. Or I'm sorry, I said that backwards. For the goddess, it would be silver. For the god, it would be gold. And you would imagine this engraving that color along with the anointing oil into that candle. And so that's what I would advise as far as candles go. Beautiful candles. Any of them are feasible. They all get prepared differently. At least, you know, with the writing, or certain ones, you know, with their odd shapes, you know, it would be a little bit different. But for the most part, you would do the same thing. The same steps. You would cleanse your candle. You would inscribe it. Then you would anoint it. And then last, you would empower it. Right? That's holding it up to the higher power and saying, grant me your power, grant me your might. Write a little prayer that you would say every time of empowerment for this tool. And these are tools just like this, or these, or any other tools in your kit. And I hope this helps you and that you got out of it what you really need. I love my candles. I do my best work, and I add all my colors, my color magic, my numerology, wherever possible, into the works that I do, and even shapes. And so take your time, plan things out, make sure that you do things in the right way, and you're very specific with what you say so that you don't harm anybody by accident. Like if you pray for money, you don't want to kill dear Aunt Edna, you know, with, you know, her fortune that now you're going to have left to you because you prayed for money and didn't dictate. You don't want it to come from anybody else's ill falling. Okay? Well, take care of yourself and support the channel. Get a reading from me on a professional level via Skype or Facebook Messenger. Get with me through my email, leannatreece@gmail.com or mysticshadowinsights@gmail.com. You'll find the information in the description below the video. Or you can go to my Patreon and you could support me there monthly. I would sure appreciate it, and we'll keep the channel moving and flowing like milk and honey. Grow our community. Please like and subscribe. Share the video. Many blessings, and bye-bye.